On Acoustic Tuesday, episode number 55, we're going to have a look at a blues book by an Acoustic Tuesday artist, a full-length feature film about a singer-songwriter, and we get an in-depth look at the periodic table's all-star, atomic number 22. All that and more right after this. If you believe that playing acoustic guitar is about sharing the joy of music with friends and family, not just mastering the technical side of playing, then this show is your dream come true. Every Tuesday morning, I give you my list of exciting Guitar Geek discoveries, gear, and new music so you can stay inspired to live your best acoustic life. I'm Tony Polecastro, and this is the Acoustic Tuesday Show. Guitar Geeks, unite. Welcome to Acoustic Tuesday, episode number the 55th. I'm so happy that you are here. This is the show where you're going to learn about acoustic guitar gear, discover acoustic artists, and get inspired to live your very best acoustic life. As with all episodes of Acoustic Tuesday, I'm going to share with you my Guitar Geek list for the week. And let me tell you, this week, I've got a list that is chocked full of guitar geeky goodness. But before we dive into that, we have to do a little bit of Acoustic Tuesday tradition known as Guitar Geek Trivia. Here is your Guitar Geek Trivia question. Tony Rice's 1935 Martin D28, serial number 58957, was originally owned by Clarence White. Clarence and his brother Roland ended up purchasing that guitar from a music store's to-be-repaired shelf. How much did Clarence and Roland originally pay for that 1935 Martin D28? Was it A, $775, B, $450, C, $25, or D, it was given to them? Go ahead and ponder that, and at the end of the show, I'll be sure to give you the answer. I want you to pull up a chair, pour yourself a beverage, because I'll tell you what, episode 55 of Acoustic Tuesday is chocked full of really fun discoveries. This is the type of show where I was doing research and I thought, oh, I'll feature a couple of these items, and then a couple items turned into a lot more items, and then episode 55 was born. And here to try and keep me in line, on the rails, is, of course, Sir Noah Jacob Heckman, the traffic director, Junior the First. Noah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Threw me off a little bit with the whole traffic director.
I threw myself off. Yeah, you need those orange sticks.
Yes.
I'm sure if you really wanted those orange sticks, my folks would probably send you a set.
That is true. Speaking of that, I haven't received a resend of those bacon cheddar potato chips yet.
Oh, they were maple bacon.
Maple bacon.
But I'm sure bacon cheddar ones exist as well.
Yes.
So Mom, Dad, if you're watching, Noah is bummed out right now.
So, in directing the traffic, Tony,
yeah,
let's jump in.
You're going to have to rein me in today, Noah, because I was researching today's episode and just kept finding more stuff. And I literally couldn't stop. I just quit writing this show like minutes before we sat down to film it because I just kept finding things and we just had to cut it off. So let's kick off with a book by an Acoustic Tuesday artist. Way back in episode 42, back on episode 42, I featured a documentary called Honey Boy, which was about David Honey Boy Edwards, a kind of I think an under-the-radar blues musician who is really tied to the roots of Delta blues. This documentary is amazing, and of course, if you want to find out more about that, go to acousticlife.tv/AT42. You'll be able to see information on that documentary. But I'm not here to talk about that documentary. I'm here to talk about a book called The World Don't Owe Me Nothing. And who's it by? Well, it's by David Honey Boy Edwards. And I'm super excited to have found this book. Now, just to be clear, this book is not a direct parallel to the documentary. Okay, there's a lot of stories contained within this book. Now, this book is compiled of conversations that were recorded, and the folks that were responsible for compiling them, I just want to give credit where credit is due, Janice Martinson and Michael Robert Frank. And they really, the preface of this book has an interesting story about where a lot of these conversations were held, and it happened to be inside of David Honey Boy Edwards' Lincoln Town Car. So it's littered with really kind of raw stories about his life, where he came from, how he came to Chicago. And I'm going to actually just read the description for you because I want you to be aware of this book. This is a book I think everybody should read. I just got it. I've just been jumping through it. I took a look at the, there's a couple different appendices that have a ton of information about musicians, locations, historical figures. I mean, it's got all the different facets of a true Guitar Geek book. But here is the synopsis of the book. Here we go. The blues has been described in many ways, but to Honey Boy Edwards, it is a leading thing, an irresistible feeling that has called him on. Away from home, away from comfort, away from the arms of loving women, the blues has taken him along a path that strangely parallels the development of this haunting music. From sharecropper son to itinerant bluesman, Honey Boy's life reads like a distillation of the classic blues legends. His good friends and musical partners were blues pioneers Charlie Patton, Big Walter Horton, Tommy McLennan, Sunnyland Slim, and Robert Johnson, among many others. He saw some of the first blues musicians in the Delta, Tommy Johnson, Son House, and older artists unrecorded and lost to us. Honey Boy went on the road to play guitar at age 17 with Big Joe Williams. He hopped the freight trains of blues lore, the Peavine, the Southern, and the Yellow Dog, and played the riverboats, juke joints, and good timing houses along the dusty roads of the Delta. And it goes on to even share more about his life. But the way that this book is written, if you've seen the Honey Boy documentary, you can almost hear his voice in each of these stories. Each chapter is like a new story, and I'm so pumped to have found this book, and I'm so pumped to be sharing it with you. Again, that's entitled The World Don't Owe Me Nothing by David Honey Boy Edwards. And I would strongly recommend it. Like I said, I just got it. I've just been jumping around for like the past week. I haven't even started it in chronological order. I just keep jumping to a different chapter. But I love it, and I think you're going to love it as well. And of course, to find out more about the book, go to acousticlife.tv/AT55. You're going to see a full write-up, and of course, an Amazon affiliate link where you can purchase that. And all of those affiliate links on acousticlife.tv, we get a small percentage of those sales, and we go ahead and pass that percentage directly on to Guitars for Vets as a donation on behalf of all the guitar geeks that watch Acoustic Tuesday. So make sure to check out that book. All right, moving on. I'm gonna quick hit the mailbag, Noah, if that's okay.
Sure.
That almost sounded like I was going to the bathroom. Quick hit the mailbag.
No, I wasn't thinking that at all. You got quite the mailbag today, I have to say.
This is going to be a two-parter.
It's a cornucopia of mailbag goodness.
It is. It's going to be a two-parter. So this came from Vic G. Now, Vic, I've met Vic. I met Vic 3-4 years ago now. He was at the first Tony's Acoustic Challenge Jamboree. He wasn't at the second, and then he was at the Acoustic Life Festival that we just held this last year. So I am so pleased to, of course, always hear from Vic. But he says, he put a little note here, and I'm going to share with you what this is, but I got to read the note first. Hey, Tony, I've got a note for you inside the book. That's the part 2. That's coming up later. But also, here's a pick for the cup from the store in San Jose that's responsible for more than half of my guitarsenal. Enjoy the book. And the pick is from Guitar Showcase in San Jose, so that will gladly go into the cup. And the book that Vic sent is called My First Guitar. Now, I literally just opened this. The mail lady brought it up the stairs and set it right up on the stairs. And I am so pumped to dig into this book. So I'm not going to give it a full review. I'm just going to share with you what it is. It's called My First Guitar. And Vic has a whole note included in this about the book. So I'm going to actually use that when I review the book in a future episode of Acoustic Tuesday. So again, that's My First Guitar. And I want to just thank Vic G for sending that over. Really appreciate the book, the pick, the kind note, and of course, all of your Guitar Geek vibes. All right, moving on to an artist. Here's what I'm listening to this week, and this artist comes as a recommendation from Bob W. from Kitchener, Ontario. He recommends that not just me, not just Noah, but we all as guitar geeks listen to Calum Graham. And he says this about Calum Graham. Calum is a modern fingerstyle player who plays with a lot of percussive techniques, hammer-ons, pull-offs, taps, harmonics, and pure acoustics. He's an amazing talent that plays with a lot of feel and dynamics and attributes influence from Michael Hedges. I found him as a featured FERC artist when I was shopping for my guitar, and I've been playing his albums since. The real reason that I thought everyone would be interested in is that he has instruction videos on how to play many of his songs and sells detailed tabs of all of his songs. You can purchase an entire box set of all of his albums, including tabs, on a USB. You can't beat that for a deal. Oh, and he won first place in the 2010 Canadian Fingerstyle Guitar Championship. That's pretty awesome. And after listening to Calum's music, I am really floored I hadn't heard of him earlier. This is a new artist to me, and I'm so delighted to hear Calum play. Calum is, as Bob describes, a modern fingerstyle guitarist, but what I love about Calum's playing, and what I think is really notable, is how much space he actually is comfortable with. Leaving space within the music, and I think it really allows you time to breathe when listening to his songs, and also just allows you time to really appreciate the magnificent tone that he's pulling out of his guitar and his just overall compositions. I just want you to notice that. We're going to have a listen to his song entitled The Nomad right now, so just take note of that space and just the beautiful tone. Crazy thing is that Calum is in his 20s. I think he's about 26, give or take a year, but I mean, still, that's pretty wild. And you absolutely have to check out his website. His website is just really, it's a fun resource, to be honest. And I say this because there's, when you go to his website, and you can find out all those details at acousticlife.tv/AT55. Just click on Calum Graham and you'll be able to see all the links to his website. But once you get there, there's a tab on his website that says Guitarists Only. And it includes, as Bob mentioned, instructional videos, tunings, and this is the coolest part, a list of all the guitars that he plays. And there's some absolute gems on there that you have to see. So make sure to check out Calum Graham. Currently, he's got 4 albums out. At least that's what my research turned up. He's got an album entitled Phoenix Rising, and then another one, Tabula Rasa. And then another one with a really cool cover entitled 1234, and it's kind of like well, it looks like inlay, which is why I really like it. And then lastly, an album entitled Burning Up. And I just literally had his albums on shuffle this morning, and I'm just delighted. I think his compositions just really run the gamut from kind of intensely percussive to really minimalist. And I think it's a great study in composition. And I think he's just a fantastic artist. So I want to thank Bob W. for recommending Calum Graham. And I want to, of course, pass that recommendation on to all of you, because as guitar geeks, we need more music like Calum's in the world. So thanks, Bob. And of course, thank Calum for making such beautiful music. All right, I've just got to make sure I keep on track here. I've got a billion notes written on this thing. It's amazing I'm keeping it together so far. But of course, we want to know what you think of the show so far. So please, in the comments below, include where you're tuning in from and let us know what you think. If you made a new discovery, celebrate it right there in the comments. If you just want to say hi and let us know where you're tuning in from, please do that. And while you're there leaving comments and interacting with the show, if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the Acoustic Life YouTube channel. It's super easy. Hit that red subscribe button. Click that little gray bell. That'll give you a notification each and every time a new video goes live. And if you never want to miss an episode of Acoustic Tuesday, just get it delivered directly to your email like most folks do. There's a link in the description. Go ahead and click that link and you'll get Acoustic Tuesday delivered directly to your email. Now, speaking of comments, Noah, I know that you pulled some from a couple previous episodes.
Yes,
and I would
did.
love for you to share those. Give me a second to actually
share that.
I just want to take a breath for 1 second.
Yes, calm down.
Start running out of air.
I'll take it from here. I got it.
I'm getting hot and sweaty in my flannel.
All right, here we go. First shout out goes to Brian L. It says Brian L. from Cape Cod, and then it says Massachusetts. Massachusetts. Love your show. It has resparked my playing. Thank you.
Awesome.
Next shout out comes from Ray R. And he says, watching from Mililani, Hawaii.
Cool.
And then we have E. Riley Ellen from Louisiana. It says she loves the show.
Cool, excellent.
And then last shout out today comes from Don. He says, as usual, watching on Tuesday evening from Boston, Massachusetts.
How do you say that?
And I
State
got it
again?
right that time.
Yeah, you did. Good job.
What? Boston?
Boston. Isn't it Boston?
Boston. Boston in the fall? I don't know. Sorry.
And of course, if there's any sort of inflection or accent that you would like Noah to try on a future episode of Acoustic Tuesday, just put that in the comments. He'll gladly attempt that. I would certainly enjoy that. So please let her rip in the comments. No, seriously, we love hearing from you guys and gals out there. And speaking of hearing from you all, I've got 2 guitarsonals that I'm super, super pumped to share with you today. In fact, both of the folks that submitted guitarsonals I've met in person. They are true guitar geeks. They were both at the Acoustic Live Festival. So let's kick things off with Jamie M. Jamie is from Butte, Montana, just about 90 miles west of Bozeman. Up over a big mountain pass. It's a really cool old mining town. And in Jamie's guitarsenal, he has a Yamaha FG420, a Yamaha FG720-12, a Music Villa Custom Martin HD28 with Madagascar rosewood back and sides. He's got an electric guitar there in the middle, a Sterling by Music Man AX20, a Martin Dreadnought Jr., a Waikiki Ukulele Company Mango Wood Concert Uke, a Taylor 322 CE 12 fret with Tasmanian Blackwood back and sides, and 2 homemade cigar box guitars. So I want to thank Jamie for sharing his guitarsenal with all of us here on Acoustic Tuesday. And next up, also an Acoustic Live Festival veteran, Paul H. from Eugene, Oregon. And Paul is I oftentimes refer to him as the 12-string slinger, because every time he comes to a festival or a jamboree, he always brings a 12-string. And you'll see in his guitarsenal, he's got a K12 string, currently in retirement and contemplating new life with Guitars for Vets. Very cool. He also has a Martin D12-28, a Collings CJ with mahogany back and sides, and of course that sunburst finish on the top, and he's holding a Taylor GS Mini with Koa back and sides and a Koa top. Which is pretty awesome. So I want to thank both Jamie and Paul for sharing your guitarsenals with us. And if you're sitting there thinking, I have a guitarsenal, I want to share it on Acoustic Tuesday, it's super easy. First, you got to grab yourself a guitarsenal shirt. There's a link right beneath this episode. Go ahead and pick your size, pick your color, and you can get a guitarsenal shirt delivered directly to you. Second, put that guitarsenal shirt on and take a picture with you amongst all of your guitars, and please include any family members that are part of your guitar journey, or any pets or anything like that, anything necessary to your guitar journey. And then last, and probably the most important, is submit that picture at acousticlife.tv. Go to acousticlife.tv, and right in the top menu, you'll see a submit button. Click that submit button, you'll be able to submit your picture right there. And of course, be included in a future episode of Acoustic Tuesday. Whew, that was good. That was a good one. I felt like the Micro Machines guy right there.
That's probably why you're sweating.
Right. Well, I'm going to just keep rolling, because this next one I want to spend some time on, because this was a very much a guitar geek black hole that I went in. This was something, I started researching one thing, and then all of a sudden I started making all these discoveries, and everything was connecting, and the stars were aligning, and unicorns were flying, and meteors were blasting across the sky. It was just glorious. And what I want to share with you is there's 2 things. Okay, the first is a full feature-length film. It's actually directed by Ethan Hawke. It was just released on August 17th in theaters across Texas, and I'm not sure it's going to be going nationwide. I'm not sure of the trajectory of this movie, but I just want it on your radar, because it definitely piqued my interest, and I think it'll pique yours as well. This is a movie about Blaze Foley, singer-songwriter, Texas singer-songwriter, Austin, Texas singer-songwriter, who ran the same rounds as Townes Van Zandt, amongst many other Texas troubadour type songwriters. But the movie is aptly titled Blaze, and it just looks damn good. So let's have a look at the trailer right now.
Only one drink, big dog. I don't want any shenanigans from you tonight. Don't make me regret it. Oh, Lord.
Okie dokie, Smoky Pokey. This next song is my wedding song.
I don't know who Blaze Foley is.
It's Blaze Foley. You really should know who Blaze was.
Didn't try to fall in love with you.
Do you think we're born knowing how to love?
that I can do.
Why do we forget?
To keep myself from falling.
Plain old living, that
like
man.
I've done so many times.
So you're gonna be a big country star?
I saw daylight in you.
I don't want to be a star. I want to be a legend. I'm going down to the Greyhound station. Gonna get a ticket to ride.
I know it's strange. Seems like since we got married, I've been gone all the time.
Kids and sit down by side.
But I'm a salesman of songs.
Ride until the sun
Every song I hear about a man and woman, I think about us and cry.
Feed the pigeons and play.
The thing about Blaze,
Turn the night into day.
you understood. If you want to write a song,
You bring your ass over here, ZZ Top.
everyone's going to tell you that you got to live that song.
You're a pathetic drunk.
But that is not it.
Just sing, would you?
You're going to have to die a little. There's things that are pulling at me, they're pulling hard. I don't know why, but I have to let them take me.
The sun came up, it was another day. When the sun went down, you were blown away. Why'd you let go of your guitar? Why'd you ever let it go?
I wrote you a song.
Drunken angel.
I think my days of being your muse are over.
So good, drunk.
Well, I think they're just getting started.
Drunken angel.
I had a little bit of love, enough to put into some songs.
To learn more about that movie, just go to acousticlife.tv/AT55. You'll be able to directly link to the movie's website, which I believe will allow you to see when it's going to be showing across the nation, the world, if it is. And of course, they'll probably release that, I would assume, on DVD or iTunes or something like that in the near future. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Now, I'll just come clean. I don't know very much about Blaze Foley. The fact that I knew that he kind of ran with Townes Van Zandt is just because I just did some research prior to the show. So I'm excited for this movie because I want to learn more about Blaze Foley. He seemed like a quite the songwriter, actually. And of course, because I'm a geek and I do this, I went ahead and did more research, and I found another documentary. Well, I should say I found a documentary. The first one was a movie directed by Ethan Hawke. This documentary I want to expose you to is called The Duct Tape Messiah. It was released in 2011. And it's a documentary about Blaze Foley's life. And because I'm a dork and because I love digging into stuff, I found this really cool trailer. So let's have a look at the trailer for Duct Tape Messiah.
There are tales of legendary performers who fought the system, lived by their own rules, stayed true to their art, ultimately defining the system they once fought. This isn't one of those stories.
There was an element that laughed behind his back, like, look at this goofball. But once he picked up that guitar, man, they all shut up.
He was rebellious. He didn't care about making it big or any of that stuff.
Get used to being alone. Change your words to the song. Start singing again.
He was the biggest and the smallest and the loudest and the quietest and the sweetest and the meanest.
He was homeless. Basically lived with people and on the mercy of people.
I mean, that's a very important part of Blaze, was the fact that he stood up for the underdog and he stood up for rights. I mean, he was killed doing that.
Blaze chose literally to die for his beliefs.
The last thing that he said was, "Please don't let me die."
I think he knew the end was near.
So the fact that Blaze died was not maybe that big of a surprise, but certainly the way that it happened was absolutely a bummer.
I'd like to die like that. I think he went to heaven the right way. He lived a good life, but he'd also died right. He's a big hero, man.
From Austin, Texas comes the true story of a man destined for obscurity, of a man who died for his beliefs, ultimately finding redemption as a legendary cult hero. This is the tale of Blaze Foley, the Duct Tape Messiah.
The sun came up, it was another day, and the sun went down, you were blown away. Why'd you let go of your guitar? Why'd you ever let it go that far, drunken angel?
Merle Haggard thought Blaze had written one of the best songs he'd heard in 15 years.
He'd always said that he wanted to be a legend.
They are really great songs, and I think it took people a long time to figure that out.
You know, I said, well, it's too bad you can't be a cowboy forever. And he said, Blaze did.
Blaze Foley, the duct tape messiah.
He always got involved.
Always got involved. And I mean, you know, and if
I think that's what killed him.
Yeah. Well, duh.
All right, so as I mentioned, I'm super pumped to learn more about Blaze Foley because I don't really know much. I don't know much of his music. I don't know much of his life, but this was a result of somebody left in the comments something along the lines of, hey, you should check out Blaze Foley. So here I did. I went ahead and checked him out, and I'm super pumped to learn more. So check out both of those, both Blaze, the movie, and the Duct Tape Messiah. The Duct Tape Messiah, to the best of my knowledge, is out on DVD. There's a link to it at acousticlife.tv/AT55. That's, again, one of those Amazon affiliate links, so if you use that and buy the DVD portion of that sale, whatever proceeds are generated from that affiliate link, those go directly to Guitars for Vets as a donation. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, check out, let's all learn more about Blaze Foley together. And that could lead to some small wins, of course. And since I'm on the topic of small wins and discovering Blaze Foley was a small win of mine, Noah,
Tony,
do tell us about some small wins that the Acoustic Tuesday fans have been sharing.
I would love to. I thought you'd never ask. By the way, your learning about Blaze Foley is so new that as we were going through this earlier, I was asking you all these questions, and you couldn't answer any of them.
That's true.
I was like, oh, what about, real? Oh.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I don't know.
Well, so I know a couple of factoids. Apparently, at his funeral, they put duct tape on his casket. But the duct tape goes back a little bit further because he was kind of making fun of urban cowboys at a certain point or time, and he would put duct tape on the tips of his cowboy boots.
Okay.
As kind of a joke.
Yeah.
But that's all I know.
Cool.
That's it. That's all I got.
I'm excited. Well, that's a small win for me, too, because I want to see the movie and documentary as well. Now, on to the viewers' small wins. First one comes from Ron W. After learning how to play after my left index fingertip was amputated, it is time to fam jam with a good friend and my granddaughter.
Oh,
acoustic guitars, ukes, electrics, and singing like crazy people.
That's awesome.
Next one comes from Chad H. He says, some simple finger picking while standing. Previously, I could only finger pick reliably while sitting because it tips the front top of the guitar up a little bit, making it easier to see the fretboard and the strings. Made myself finger pick while standing up, and much to my surprise, I did just fine.
That's awesome. That's huge.
And third small win for today, Tony, comes from Don, who says, I just won a G7 12-string capo courtesy of the unofficial Taylor Guitar Forum.
That's awesome.
And there you go.
That's way cool. I saw those capos. Those look interesting.
Yeah.
It's like the pads modified to fit kind of the vibe of the 12-string, the different gauges of strings. So I'm excited about that.
Well, those are small wins, Tony.
Well, thank you, sir. And of course, if you want to share a small win, please do. It's super easy to do. Just in the comments below the YouTube video, just put hashtag small win, and please describe your small win. It could be changing strings for the first time. It could be standing up while finger picking. It could be winning a new capo. It could be anything along those lines. We want to know those little positive small wins are so important on all of our guitar journeys because it just feels good to celebrate, and we got to do that. We got to take a step back every once in a while and say, hey, things are awesome. Check out this small win. So please share your small win with us. And now, Noah, I thought I heard you say you had a Guitar Geek win.
Yes, No, you heard right. I was just going to bring that up because occasionally these do come in. And we do want to hear them, and we do want to share them. So we do have a You Know You're a Guitar Geek win. And this one comes from, if we said this right, we were both looking at this earlier, Tony. It's either Plummy Girl or Plumy Girl.
I'll go with the long U, Plumy.
Plumy. Okay.
But I don't know what that even means.
Yeah, it's like blossoming or something.
Yeah.
And here's what Plumy Girl has to say. You know you're a guitar geek when I take my lunch break to play the school's guitar in the band music room, And then the teacher gets into the band room and uses his bass, right? So I'm taking that to mean it turns into like a little jam session.
That's what it sounds like.
And then to add to the Know Your Guitar Geek when geekiness stuff, next event, I was at a Trader Joe's for the week house food reload, and an employee asked me about the Guitarsenal T and asked which guitar I have, and I asked about his guitars. Good times.
Awesome. Very cool. It's always good to run into a fellow guitar geek at the grocery store.
Right.
Well, the grocery store is just not the most fun place to be.
It can be.
I used to think it was a lot more fun than it currently is.
Wow.
I guess maybe I'm just going through a low swing.
Wow. Well, you know what? Let's celebrate the fact that they guitar geeked out in the produce aisle.
At the grocery store.
Maybe.
That just ups the level of grocery shopping for me. It just takes it to a whole nother level that potential exists. So now I have a new mission when I personally go grocery shopping. Well, at this point, I'd like you to please share the show, because you never know what I'm going to say or what Noah's going to say or what discussions we may have. No, but in all seriousness, as a guitar geek, it is your duty to please share the Acoustic Tuesday show. The whole goal of the show is to unite as many guitar geeks as possible, just to get together on Tuesdays and just geek out, talk about gear, have fun, celebrate our guitar geekiness, share our small wins, and just learn about some cool new stuff that's out there. So please, please share the show with your guitar geek friends. It could be your local music store, it could be your guitar teacher, it could be your guitar geek friends. Just send them a link to acousticlife.tv, send them a link to your favorite episode, whatever the case may be. Please go ahead and share this show with them. They would love it. I'm just gonna tell you, because as a guitar geek, I'm pretty sure you just automatically are predisposed to loving this show. Okay. Let's move on to my number one. This is a contested item because, well, I usually refer to guitar strings as one of the cheaper experiments you can do to modify the tone of your guitar. And I held by that pretty solidly up until about 2 weeks ago when I bought this set of strings. What is this set of strings? Well, this set of strings that I'm going to share with you, that I'm going to review for you, are the Martin Titanium Core strings. And as I mentioned before, usually I refer to strings as a cheap experiment. These strings were not cheap. These were $40 for the set. So I had to figure out if it was worth it or not. Okay, so I purchased these strings. They came in, again, about 2 weeks ago, and I was able to put them on my Martin, my 1935 Single 017. I put those strings on there. These are the Martin Titanium Core strings. And I think they sound pretty darn good, but I'm not gonna leave the review at that. Okay, so here's what the strings claim. There's two big kind of sticking points, or things that stuck with me. Is number one, they use a round core wire. So underneath the wound strings, think E, A, D, and G, there's usually a hex core wire, the base wire. This one's a round core wire made out of titanium, which is new. It's supposed to improve tone, and it's supposed to improve tuning stability. The second thing that I thought was I think a sticking point for me was the fact that they're wrapped in nickel. So the wound strings have a nickel wrap on them, which is naturally a corrosion resisting, yeah, I think that's right, corrosion resistant rather, and I think it has a really interesting effect on the tone. Okay, so I popped these strings open, and I thought that they were going to be bright. They were not bright. They were really mellow, and I found a really good match for this smaller all mahogany guitar that I have. And I thought, this is cool because they're new strings, but they don't have that ice pick in the forehead kind of zing that new strings have, right? They're a very composed, mellow string. When I say composed, I mean the strings don't mush together. The strings are separated, but they have just an inherent warmth to them. I think these strings would be wonderful in the studio. And I put these strings on right before I had a whole weekend full of gigs. I'm talking Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And one of the big claims of these strings is that they're corrosion resistant, right? Because of the nickel, because of the titanium, because of the fact that the plain steel strings, the B and the high E, are cryogenically treated, they're supposed to resist corrosion. And my gig on Friday was outside, and it happened to rain a little bit. Now, I'm not talking everything was soaked, but there was moisture in the air, okay? So that was Friday night. I played for about 3 hours in that gig. The following night was a private party gig where I just played unplugged with that guitar, and the temperature varied. It started out right around 80 degrees, but as the night went on, it dipped to about 60 degrees. All right, so and the reason I'm telling you this because I want you to understand what the strings actually went through. And then the final night, Sunday, final afternoon, I should say, Sunday afternoon was a brunch gig out at Pine Creek Lodge, just south of Livingston in Paradise Valley here, just close to Yellowstone National Park, actually. And that was a brunch gig. It was outside. The weather started right around 70 degrees and quickly rose to 90 degrees as the afternoon wore on. So I put the strings through their paces, right? And we're talking probably, let's see, 6, 8, probably 9 hours of playing just at gigs, and then I played them throughout the week at home just to figure out if they were really corrosion resistant. And I'm pretty impressed at the fact that visually, I don't see any indications that the strings are tarnished at all. So that's really good. And secondly, I noticed that the tone has been pretty consistent. Which I'm excited about as well. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with these strings. Now, there's a couple of questions that I have for the folks at Martin, but before I do that, I'm gonna actually show you a little snippet of this video that Martin released when the strings were announced. So let's have a look at that, and then I'll get to the questions that I have.
And what you usually get with these nickel alloys on an acoustic guitar is a little bit, I want to say, drier sound. Less sizzle on the high end, which makes it great for recording, because a lot of people will complain that when they're playing strings in the studio, they're getting this high-end sound that they don't usually prefer. That's why a lot of people like to play strings that are broken in when they go into the studio. Well, these strings have that broken-in sound right away.
You're going to notice two key attributes inherent of the titanium core string. One is the unique string anchor, and the other is the crimped end. On a conventional string, you have a ball end. With the titanium core string, you have the unique string anchor.
All right, so that's Martin's take on their titanium core strings. Now again, I'm here to just give you my thoughts and opinions, and upon kind of going through and jotting down my thoughts and opinions, I have some questions for the folks at Martin. And I think I'm not the only one, because I can't find the answer to these questions anywhere. So I'm just gonna throw this out there and say, hey, if there's anybody over at Martin, specifically in the string area, that could answer these questions by way of a cell phone video or by way of contacting us, I'd be happy to share the answers with everybody here on the Acoustic Tuesday show. But these are the questions that I have. First of all, the strings are $40, and I just want to understand why. And I'm just making an assumption here, but I want to be clear on the fact that I'm assuming that the materials cost more, hence the fact that the strings are $40 per set. So that's all I want to know. That's one of the questions I have, is what's the deal with the price? I mean, that's a pretty lofty, that's a pretty heavily priced set of strings. The second question I have is, why aren't you offering mediums? I was dying to try these strings on my Martin HD35 because I was curious of what that would do with the rosewood and the spruce, and that's a pretty boomy guitar. I just was curious if these strings would mellow it out or not, but I usually play mediums on that particular guitar, and I cannot find titanium core mediums. So what gives? Why no medium gauged titanium core strings? And the last thing that is absolutely killing me are what they refer to as the unique string anchor. Okay. Now, if you've ever seen a set of Fender bullet strings, it looks a lot like the end of a bullet string. So it's not a standard ball end. It's like this odd little capsule of metal at the end instead of a ball end. And what benefit does that have? As you know, as an acoustic guitarist, what, you know, you guys say that it's a unique string anchor point, but as a guitar player and as a user of these titanium core strings, what benefit does that serve me? Or is that just a necessity of the manufacturing process because of the materials? I'm just curious, and I think inquiring minds want to know. So again, anybody over at Martin in the string department, if you guys could address those questions, that would be super rad. We would certainly appreciate it, and I know guitar geeks across the world would appreciate it as well. But all in all, I will say this, I'm pretty pleased with these strings. I didn't really know what to expect. I wanted them to be, I actually thought they were gonna be a little bit more crisper than they were, but I'm happy that they aren't, because I really like the tone that they elicit, especially out of that single 017. I've been using Elixir Phosphor Bronze strings on that, and I've also been using the Santa Cruz low tension parabolic strings. Now I love both of those sets of strings, and those particular strings bring a brightness out of that guitar that it really doesn't have with other strings. The titanium core was a good balance for that particular guitar, because it gave clarity, but it retained the warmth. So again, yeah, those are the Martin titanium core strings. Those are my thoughts on those strings. Of course, if you have tried those strings out and you want to share your thoughts on them, please do so in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your impression was of the strings. And of course, again, the folks at Martin, I cannot wait to hear from you if you guys do want to engage in those questions. I'd love to hear, and I'm sure all of the Acoustic Tuesday viewers would as well. So that pretty much wraps up Acoustic Tuesday for episode number 55. No, I was going to ask you a question, but I totally spaced on it. Oh, I was going to ask you, when I say the word titanium, what do you think of?
That song that
Sia did?
Sia does, yeah.
In my head, I was like, it's either going to be that or it's going to be Terminator. But I don't think Terminator was titanium.
No, I don't think so.
It was a liquid metal,
yeah,
of sorts.
Yeah, like mercury or something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that either.
Yeah, well, anyways, the verdict's out on that. If anybody knows what metal Terminator was, we'd love to hear about that in the comments as well.
Great segue into Terminator, by the way.
Yeah. So episode 55 is nearly in the books, but we do have to revisit our Guitar Geek trivia. So just as a reminder, here was your Guitar Geek trivia question. Tony Rice's 1935 Martin D28 serial number 58957 was originally owned by Clarence White. Clarence and his brother Roland ended up purchasing that guitar from a music store's to-be-repaired shelf. How much did Clarence and Roland originally pay for that 1935 Martin D28? Was it $775, $450, $25, or it was given to them and they didn't pay anything? Well, if you answered C, $25, you're absolutely correct. In the year 1959, Clarence and Roland White put their finances together to purchase that 1935 Martin D28 for $25 from a Los Angeles music store. Down the road, in the year 1975, Tony Rice became the new owner of that highly acclaimed pre-war herringbone, paying $550 for it and completing that transaction in the LAX airport. Pretty awesome trivia, pretty awesome bluegrass lore. That guitar is a well, it's a much celebrated guitar. In fact, Fretboard Journal did a great expose on that guitar, which is where I found those facts. So please check that out. Go to acousticlife.tv. We actually did a feature on Fretboard Journal's feature, so if you want to learn more about it, please check that out. That pretty much puts episode 55 in the books. It tucks it in nicely. We read it a bedtime story. We're turning the lights out, but let's take a sneak peek into next week to see what's coming up on episode 56 of Acoustic Tuesday. So next week on Acoustic Tuesday, we're going to head back to the string experimentation station. I've got some great strings that I ordered. I cannot wait to share with you all what they are. I'm going to weigh in on scales. This one's going to be a great playing tip. And we're going to look at an unassuming acoustic guitar grate that has been under our noses the whole time. And you got to tune in, because I was blown away when I discovered this individual was such an amazing acoustic player, because it's not what I don't think of acoustic guitar when I hear this man's name. But you'll have to tune in next week to figure that out. So I want to thank you. Noah wants to thank you. We want to thank you for sharing your time with us on this Tuesday, this wonderful Acoustic Tuesday. And please don't forget to catch Acoustic Tuesday every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time on YouTube. And of course, for your acoustic guitar infused fix in between Tuesdays, just go to acousticlife.tv. TV, where you can find out all sorts of fun stuff. There's bonus footage, there's extra write-ups, extra reviews, and of course those affiliate links. If you use those, any proceeds generated from those affiliate links goes directly to Guitars for Vets as a donation because, well, that's what we guitar geeks do. We help unite other guitar geeks. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And again, thank you for sharing your time with us. From Noah, from myself, have an awesome Tuesday. Keep smiling, keep strumming, and we'll see you next Tuesday on Acoustic Tuesday. Cheers to you.